The BLUEAIR 211i Max. This air purifier is got some size on it, but also it purifies a very large room. There are some pros and cons though, and I want to talk about those in this video. Let's check it out. You do have the indication light here on the front. This will shift from blue to green to, I believe, orange, and then amber, then red. And those are the levels from like good quality to the worst quality. So if you see towards the red spectrum, you know you have poor air quality. And on top, you have your PM levels of different styles. You have PM 2.5 and PM 10. And these are the particulates, parts per million of particulates in the air, and it'll sense that. One of the cons I don't like about this is there's really not a lot of vortex of air. So as it blows up in the air, it doesn't spin it as much. I would say that's a con. I wish it had more of a vortexing top to it. That way it spins the air further away rather than just straight up. Now on the outside, you have a pre-filter. This is like a sock. It's not permanent on there. You don't have to worry too much. We'll get into the filter right now, might as well. This sock peels back, and then when you unscrew the base, this whole lower section comes off, and you can get access to taking this pre-filter off as well. But you can just pull that down. It's just like a sock. You pull over top and you pull it as taut as you want. And on the bottom, you rotate this base counterclockwise and everything disconnects. And that's how you pull the filter off and replace it. Very simple. Rotate it clockwise again and it's all snapped into place. The pre-filter sock, you have dual layer of the filter itself. You have the HEPA filter, you have the carbon filter. So it's going to be taking a lot of VOCs at your house, or volatile organic compounds, a lot of particulates, pollen, dander, smoke, smells, odors of any sort. This will take care of it. So let's just get that out of the way. Let's get into the features that are on top. The illumination is kind of weird because I wish they made these subtle marks a little bit easier to see without the lights on. Because at nighttime you can't see anything, but you get used to what to hit. You do have Bluetooth capability on here, so this will connect to your phone. And as you can see on the diagram here on the screen, it allows you to have an app that controls every aspect of this, tells you the air quality in your home, and you can see this far away from your home as well. You don't have to be around it. This will display, just hit this button here and it'll give you a display, shows you where things are at. And then it'll go into its normal settings. But you turn this on and then you can hit whatever button you want for air. Now this is your fan speed at the bottom. 1 is low, 4 is the highest. You barely hear 1. And 4. Now they state on their website and on the box that this unit is the quietest in the industry and much quieter than any other that filters as much as this does for a large room. Other air purifiers I've seen in the industry that filter 3,000 plus square feet are as quiet, if not quieter than that. So I don't know where their claim's coming from. This is not any quieter or louder than the other ones I've seen in this category for, purifying 3,000 square feet. So don't think it's going to be super whisper quiet. It definitely has some noise to it. But on the front, you also have an automatic button, so you can select that. So that way, if anything happens in your house, smoke, VOCs, it'll sense those with a sensor on the back of the unit, and it'll turn on high to filter that out and then go back to low when it senses that it's back to better air. So that's a good feature to have. Other units have this as well that are out in the industry. I definitely love those features on air purifiers, that we can set it and forget it. You have night mode, little moon. You can select that. What it does, it dims all the lights, shuts the front light off, and that way you have complete darkness in your room if you have this in a bedroom or a sleeping area. That way it's not this giant bright night light on you. Now on that note, it's kind of difficult to understand how to dim the lights on this. It took me a minute because it was super bright. I'm like, gosh dang, I had to put like a towel over top at first because I couldn't figure it out. And they don't really state it on their website very well. Hold down the information or power button and then tap the fan speed button, and that will raise or lower the brightness of your screen and the front LED, which is very bright at nighttime. It'll illuminate almost dang near the entire room. And as you're tapping on this, you'll see it starts dimming, and then it goes to off, and then it starts going back up to the fullest brightness. So if you want to know how to change the brightness on this, that is how you do it. Saves you a lot of time and headache because it took me a minute to figure that out. The arrows will change between parts per million 1, parts per million 2.5, and then the thickest, biggest particulates at 10. And it'll let you know what they're sensing in this unit. Right now it's on level 1 once again, not very loud. 2 is my favorite. It circulates a lot more air, but it's still very quiet. I mean, snaps are much louder. 4 definitely gets things clean, but it is not whisper quiet like they state. Just keep that in mind. It's kind of a snake oil sales pitch, in my opinion, that they've stated. It's as loud, if maybe even a little bit louder than other units I've had that do just as much square footage of purification. But all in all, this is a great unit. It definitely gets it done. It's a massive filter. They're not real cheap to replace, but they're also not real expensive, and you don't have to replace them for almost a year. Depending upon how dirty the area is in your house or your area you're using it, it will shift. So I'm not going to tell you how long it will take to replace it, because you could have a lot of issues. But the pre-filter is a huge plus because it blocks out all the big, thick, nasty hair and debris and dander that usually clogs up a filter preemptively. So that is a huge plus. The issue I really have with this is my biggest con, is when you hit night mode, it goes to the lowest setting of purification and filtration, and it turns off all the lights, but you have no option to turn up the fan speed while in night mode. So you can't like turn it to 3, which may be circulating more air in your room and giving you a good breeze and cleanliness. And then if you hit night mode, it just turns it back down to 1. I wish you can still keep the volume of filtration up while dimming the lights completely. Now you can do that technically by turning it up to what you want, and then hitting the button, and then hitting the fan speed button until it's completely dark. That'll work. I just wish if you had it going a certain way, I don't know. It's a pro and a con, I guess. I mean, if you want it to be completely dark, and I mean, it's a pro and a con. You can use it this way by dimming it and keeping it high if you want to, but I guess if you want it to be instantly quiet but still filter and shut off all the lights, it is nice to have a 1-button hit. But I just find it a con. It's a little tricky, a little bit more work than it needs to be, a little more complicated than it needs to be. That's the biggest con. That and the vortexing the air, I think, are the 2 biggest cons of this. Overall, definitely a great unit. Just has some cons and has some pros. That's why I do these reviews the way I do, so you get all the information and not just the stuff that's on the box that someone regurgitates to you. That's what a review is for. It should tell you everything you need to know. Go check it out.